You feel the chill of the deep void. It is a cold that seeps through the station's hull, a cold that has lived in human hearts for a century. You stand on the observation deck of Star Watch. Earth hangs below like a swirled marble of blue and white. It looks peaceful from this distance, almost untouched by the silence that followed the Voyager 3 probe. It vanished 100 years ago. It went into the black between galaxies. Then nothing. For generations, humanity has stared into that emptiness. We sent out probes like messages in a bottle. We hoped for a sign, an answer to the great question, are we alone? The silence was its own terrifying answer. It suggested a universe vast and empty, a grand cosmic stage with only one actor. Humanity built Star Watch in that silence, a monument to vigilance and a testament to loneliness. Your comms unit crackles to life. The voice is young and strained with excitement. It is Officer Jax, a kid fresh from the academy. He sounds like he swallowed his caffeine patch whole. Commander, we have something. You are already moving toward the command center. You do not run. Running is for panic. You walk with a purpose that parts the crowds. Every face you pass is etched with the same question. You enter the command center. The large room is a hive of quiet intensity. The main view screen shows a single point of light. It is moving against the star charts. It is moving fast. Report, you say. Your voice cuts through the low hum of machines. Jax points a trembling finger at the screen. Signal inbound. It's old, ancient, but it's one of ours. He brings up the signal's telemetry. The data streams across the monitor in familiar green code. It is a ghost. It is a relic from a bygone era of exploration, an era before the silence began. It's Voyager 3, an older technician murmurs. Her voice is filled with a kind of holy disbelief. By the stars, it's come back. There is a reason they called her the Unseen Herald. She was supposed to be our first true interstellar messenger. The probe is not where it should be. Its trajectory is impossible. It is as if it was thrown back at you. Thrown from the depths of intergalactic space. It traveled a distance that should have taken millennia. It did it in a mere century. The laws of star science as you know them crumble. The room holds its breath. You feel the weight of 100 years of waiting. What is it carrying? You ask. The decryption team works frantically. Their fingers fly across holographic keyboards. The probe's memory banks were nearly wiped clean. Only one data packet remains. It is small, impossibly small. Too small to contain star charts or complex findings. It feels less like a message and more like a note. A note scrawled in haste. Packet is isolated and stable, the lead analyst says. Her name is Dr. Eris. She has chased this ghost for her entire career. Her face is pale, putting it on the main screen now. The star charts vanish. They are replaced by a simple, stark image. It is a pictograph, a universal language of shapes and concepts. It shows a circle representing a galaxy. Then, a larger shape appears. It is a jagged, predatory form. It surrounds the circle, consumes it. The image is brutal in its simplicity. It is a warning. A drawing on a cave wall, writ large across the cosmos. This is what the probe brought back. Not a message of peace or discovery. It brought a vision of an ultimate predator. Below the image, a single line of binary code appears. It translates into one word. One chilling, terrible word. Hunger, that is all. A century of silence broken by a single word. A word that explains everything. The empty void, the lack of signals. The great cosmic silence was not emptiness. It was the quiet of a hunting ground. The room is deathly quiet now. The earlier excitement has curdled into dread. You look at the faces of your crew, You see the dawning horror in their eyes. The universe is not empty. It is simply cleared of all competition. And humanity, with its noisy signals and curious probes, just rang the dinner bell. The unseen herald did not fail. It succeeded in the most terrifying way imaginable. It brought back the truth, a truth that would give birth to a desperate new purpose. You look from the screen to the blue marble of Earth below. That fragile world is all that matters now. The silence has been broken, and in its place, a scream is building. Your own. The journey back to Earth is a blur of emergency meetings. You brief the highest levels of the United Command. The data from Voyager 3 is undeniable. The pictograph of the Devourer, the single word, hunger, is presented. It is projected in war rooms and council chambers across the globe. The initial reaction is disbelief. Then comes the cold wave of analysis. Every expert in star science, every military strategist, reaches the same conclusion. The probe's impossible return journey was a message in itself. It was a display of technological superiority, a flex of cosmic muscle. The enemy did not just send a warning. They delivered it to your doorstep. They showed you that the laws of physics were theirs to command. The world's leaders gather in the Grand Assembly Hall in Geneva. Old tensions simmer beneath the surface. For years, the nations of Earth have been rivals, competing for resources, for influence, for scraps of power. But the image of the Galaxy Eater hangs over them now. It is a shadow that eclipses all petty squabbles. You stand at the podium. You are the one who received the message. You are the face of this new reality. The silence is over, you begin. Your voice is steady, amplified throughout the hall. We have been given a warning. A predator is coming. It is ancient, powerful, and it is aware of us. You let the words sink in. You see fear, but you also see something else. A flicker of defiance in the eyes of the delegates. Humanity did not get to the top of its food chain by being timid. The debate that follows is fierce. But it is not about whether the threat is real. It is about how to face it. Fleets are proposed. Planetary defenses are drawn up. But every simulation, every war game, ends in failure. The enemy's ability to manipulate space-time is an insurmountable advantage. They can be anywhere, everywhere. How do you fight a foe that can fold space around your ships? Then, a new idea emerges. It comes from a quiet engineer named Alara. She is from the Martian colonies. She argues that mobility is a trap. To fight on their terms, in the open void, is to lose. Humanity's strength is not in speed. It is in endurance, in its stubborn refusal to break. We do not build a fleet, she says, her voice gaining strength. We do not build a wall. We build a fortress. She projects a new design. It is not a ship. It is a world. A manufactured planetoid of armor and weapons. A bastion so large, so powerful, it would be a new star in the sky. It would be anchored at the edge of the solar system, a gatekeeper, a shield. We cannot run, Alara continues. So we will make our stand. We will build something that can weather any storm. We will call it Project Unyielding. The name hangs in the air. Unyielding. It is more than a project title. It is a declaration of intent. It is a promise to the universe. We are here. We will not be moved. We will not be erased. Some call it madness, a waste of resources on a scale never imagined. They say it is a tombstone for a species too arrogant to see its end, a stationary target waiting for destruction. But the idea catches fire. It speaks to something deep in the human spirit. The impulse to build, to create something permanent in the face of chaos. The fortress would not just be a weapon, it would be a symbol, a rallying point for every soul in the system, a last bastion of light against the coming dark. The vote is called. The tally is almost unanimous. Project Unyielding is approved. Humanity will not build 1,000 ships doomed to be outmaneuvered. It will build one single, glorious impossibility. A star fortress, the largest and most complex engineering project in history. The debate is over. The great work is about to begin. You feel a surge of something you have not felt in a long time. Hope. A desperate, terrible, beautiful hope. The decision ripples outward from Geneva. It touches every continent, every city, every person. For the first time in centuries, humanity has a single, unifying purpose: survival. The old world of competing nations seems to fade overnight. It is a dream from a more naive time. Borders become meaningless lines on a map. Flags become historical artifacts. You are placed on the Oversight Council for Project Unyielding. You witness the transformation of your world firsthand. Great factories that once built luxury cars are retooled. They now produce high-density armor plating. Mining operations on Earth, Mars, and the asteroid belt ramp up to a frantic pace. Every ounce of iron, titanium, and carbon is requisitioned. There are grumbles, of course. People complain about rationing, about the end of civilian luxuries. One politician on a news feed complains that he has not had a real steak in months. He is voted out of office the next day. The public has little patience for such things now. The scale of the project is staggering. It requires a global effort. The orbital shipyards above Earth are expanded. New construction docks are built in the Lagrange points. These are stable pockets of gravity where the fortress will be assembled. Armies of robotic workers are manufactured. They swarm over the growing framework of the bastion. They are tireless, precise, and utterly dedicated to the task. You tour the primary component factory in the Gobi Desert. What was once arid wasteland is now a sprawling industrial complex. A river of molten metal flows into colossal molds. Each one forms a single piece of the fortress's outer hull. The heat is immense. The noise is a constant roar of creation. You see workers from every corner of the globe. They work side by side, sharing meals, sharing stories, sharing a common goal. They speak different languages, but they all understand the language of engineering. In orbit, the first pieces come together. The Martian colonies provide the advanced alloys. Their expertise in working with exotic materials is unmatched. The Belters, the rugged miners of the asteroid belt, deliver the raw resources. Their small, fast ships are the lifeblood of the project. They dart between planets like cosmic couriers. Earth provides the manpower, the industrial might, and the unwavering will. Old rivalries melt away in the heat of the forges. Generals who once planned for war against each other now sit at the same table. They coordinate logistics for the greatest construction project in history. Experts who competed for academic grants now share their research freely. Every discovery, every breakthrough, is immediately integrated into the fortress design. The project becomes a melting pot of innovation. You see it in the mess halls of the orbital stations. A Russian engineer and an American scientist arguing over a design flaw. They are not arguing out of pride. They are arguing to make the fortress stronger. You see a Chinese team and an Indian team collaborate on the new power distribution systems. They solve a problem in a week that would have taken years in the old world. A joke starts making the rounds in the orbital yards. What do you call a traffic jam of cargo ships from 3 different continents? The answer: a Tuesday. The fortress is a symbol of unity. but it is also a symbol of sacrifice. The project consumes nearly 60% of the solar system's total economic output. Planetary exploration is put on hold. Colonization efforts are scaled back. All resources are funneled into this one desperate gamble. The choice was made. Humanity would rather be the master of one system than a victim in 1,000. You stand on the bridge of your new command ship, the Vigilance. It is one of the many guardian vessels that patrol the construction zone. Below you, the skeleton of the fortress grows day by day. It is a web of steel and light against the black. It is the hope of 8 billion souls. A world united not by a treaty, but by a common fear and a shared resolve. This is how humanity faces the dark, not as scattered tribes, but as a single, purposeful family. The day comes for the grand design to be revealed to the public. Not just the concept, but the full, staggering reality of it. You are in the main broadcast center on Luna. The Earth looms large in the sky portal above you. The transmission will be sent to every screen in the solar system. Every colony, every station, every city will be watching. Alara, the visionary engineer, stands beside you. She seems so small next to the immense weight of her creation. The broadcast begins. A hush falls over the solar system. The initial schematic appears on screen. It shows a familiar shape, a sphere. But then the scale becomes clear. The sphere is over 500 kilometers in diameter. It is not a station, it is a moon made of war. Alara's voice narrates the presentation. She speaks with a calm, almost reverent tone. Project Unyielding is more than a fortress, she says. It is a self-sustaining world. It is a shield for all of humanity. The schematics begin to peel back the layers. You see the outer shell first. It is composed of over 20 layers of ablative armor, a composite material blended with crushed diamond and neutronium filaments. It is designed to withstand the fury of a supernova, for a little while at least. Beneath the armor lies a honeycomb structure of support beams. Each beam is as wide as a skyscraper. This lattice provides the fortress's structural integrity. It also houses the first layer of defensive systems, tens of thousands of point defense cannons, missile silos, energy projectors, a web of instant retaliation against any close-range attack. Then comes the next layer, the life support systems. The fortress will have a population of over 1 million souls, soldiers, engineers, scientists, and their families. It has vast hydroponic farms capable of feeding 10 million. It has water recycling plants that lose less than a drop per century. It is an ark, a self-contained biosphere designed to survive for centuries, even if Earth were to fall. One of the analysts watching with you whispers, "She didn't just design a fortress. She designed a new homeworld." Alara reveals the heart of the fortress, the power source. It is not a series of fusion reactors. It is a single, contained, artificial star, a miniature sun held in a magnetic cage of unimaginable strength. This star will power every system, every weapon, every light on the station. Its energy output will rival that of a small nebula. It is a monument to humanity's audacity, to trap a sun and use it as an engine. Finally, she reveals the main weapon, the weapon that gives the fortress its purpose. It is not a single cannon. It is the fortress itself. The entire northern pole of the station is a massive energy-focusing array. The man-made star's power can be channeled through it, creating a beam of energy so immense it is spoken of in hushed tones by the project's top physicists. They call it the soliloquy cannon, because when it speaks, nothing else will have a chance to answer. The scale of it all is hard for the mind to grasp. You see the animated projections. You see the fortress dwarfing the moons of Mars. You see it taking its place as the guardian of the outer system. It is a testament to what a united humanity can achieve. It is beautiful. It is terrifying. It is the single greatest work of art ever conceived by your species. A masterpiece of survival. The broadcast ends. A wave of awe and pride washes over the solar system. For a time, it silences all doubt. The sheer audacity of the plan is intoxicating. Humanity has chosen to face the Galaxy Eater. It will do so from behind a wall of its own making. A wall built of metal and fire and the unbreakable will to live. Project Unyielding is no longer just a project. It is the future. But even in this moment of unity, dissent begins to stir. In the quiet halls of power, not everyone is convinced. The grand design is a marvel, no one denies that. But some see it not as a shield, but as a target, a giant, immobile. Kick me sign, hanging on the edge of the solar system. These voices of dissent grow louder in the weeks following the reveal. They are not cowards. They are pragmatists. You are summoned to a closed-door meeting of the United Command Security Council. The mood is tense. Admiral Petrov of the Eurasian Alliance is the most vocal critic. He is a bear of a man, with a face carved from granite and experience. He respects you, but he does not agree with the path you have set humanity upon. He does not believe in turtles. He believes in spears. "Commander," he says, his voice a low rumble, "you have sold the world a beautiful dream, a fairy tale castle to hide in, but you have forgotten one thing. The monster is real." He gestures to a tactical display. It shows the fortress, a single bright point. Then it shows the hypothetical enemy advance, a swarm of red icons that floods the screen. This fortress, this unyielding, is a stationary target, Petrov argues. The enemy can fold space. They can appear on top of us. They can attack from 1,000 angles at once. We are building the most expensive coffin in history. He advocates for a different strategy. A fleet of smaller, faster, more nimble ships. A guerrilla war fought in the dark, hit and run tactics, never presenting a single, massive target. He is not alone. President Shriver of the North American bloc echoes his concerns. He is a politician, not a soldier. His fears are economic and philosophical. "We are pouring our entire civilization into this one basket," he says. "If the fortress falls, humanity falls with it. We will have nothing left. No resources, no backup plan. It is an all-or-nothing bet of the highest order." He also raises a more subtle point, a point that makes many in the room uncomfortable. "What if the warning was not a warning?" he asks quietly. "What if it was a test? They threw their technology in our face. They showed us their power. Perhaps they were waiting to see what we would do. Would we cower? Would we reach out in peace? Instead, we build the largest gun the galaxy has ever seen. We are answering a potential threat with an unmistakable promise of violence." The argument is compelling. Is the fortress a shield or a provocation? By building it, are you inviting the very attack you hope to deter? Are you confirming to the Galaxy Eater that humanity is a threat to be neutralized? The debate rages for days. You listen to all sides. You weigh the risks, the fear of provocation against the fear of being defenseless. The dissenters propose a final alternative. Pause the construction. Send out a new probe, a message of peace, an offering of diplomacy. They argue that you must try to talk before you fight. It is the moral choice. It is the sane choice. They call it the Olive Branch Initiative, It sounds reasonable. But you remember the image from Voyager 3, the jagged shape consuming a galaxy, the single word, hunger. You take the floor. Admiral Petrov, President Shriver, your concerns are valid, you say. The risks are immense. But you are mistaken about the nature of this enemy. You pause, letting the weight of your next words settle. You do not negotiate with a hurricane. You do not reason with a plague. You do not offer an olive branch to a creature whose only concept of contact is consumption. This is not a rival civilization. You continue. This is a force of nature, a cosmic predator. The pictograph was not a test. It was a statement of fact. It told us what they are. The Voyager probe's return told us where they are. Coming for us. Our choice is not between war and peace. It is between resistance and extinction. Project Unyielding is not a provocation. It is a statement that our extinction is not negotiable. Your words carry the day. The Council votes to continue the project at full speed. The voices of dissent are quieted, but not silenced. They remain a nagging doubt in the back of the collective mind, a constant reminder of the terrible gamble you are all taking. But the decision is made. The forges will not cool. The great work will not stop. Humanity has chosen its path. It will face the coming night from behind a shield of its own making. The construction continues. A year passes, then two. The fortress begins to take on its final shape. It hangs in the void at Lagrange Point 2, a silent, growing giant. The day arrives to forge and install the first keystone. It is the central piece of the northern polar cap, the anchor point for the entire structure. It is a moment of immense symbolic importance. Millions watch the broadcast from Earth and the colonies. This is not a schematic anymore. This is real metal, a real piece of their salvation. You are aboard the construction tender Hephaestus. Its massive robotic arms hold the keystone. The piece itself is 100 meters thick, a gleaming hexagon of impossibly dense alloy. It shines in the light of the distant sun. The operation is delicate. The keystone must be slotted into the superstructure with micron precision. The slightest error could compromise the integrity of the entire polar cap. The lead engineer, a woman named Kenji, oversees the final approach. Her face is a mask of concentration. The comms are silent except for the calm countdown of the positioning system. 5 meters to contact, the system voice announces. Alignment is nominal, 4 meters. You can feel the tension on the bridge. This is more than an engineering milestone. It is a ritual. It is the laying of a foundation stone for a new kind of cathedral. A cathedral of survival. One of the bridge officers makes a bad joke about hoping the instructions weren't in Swedish. Nobody laughs. The tension is too thick. 3 meters. 2. Alignment perfect. The giant robotic arms move with a grace that seems impossible for their size. They slowly lower the massive hexagon into place. You watch on the main viewer. The keystone slides into its receptacle. There is a deep, resonant thud that you feel through the deck of your own ship. A sound of finality, of permanence. Contact confirmed, Kenji says. Her voice breaks with emotion, magnetic locks engaging. Welcome home. A cheer erupts on the bridge of the Hephaestus. The cheer is echoed across the entire construction fleet. On Earth, crowds watching in public squares burst into applause. For the first time, the fortress feels real, tangible, a promise taking form. But the universe, it seems, is not fond of human celebrations. As the magnetic locks secure the keystone, a new signal appears. It does not come from the direction of the Voyager probe's return. It comes from everywhere at once. It bypasses every security protocol. It floods every communication system in the solar system. It is not a message of words or images. It is a feeling, a wave of pure, unfiltered dread that washes over every human mind. For a few seconds, every person in the solar system feels a crippling sense of being watched, of being judged, of being found wanting. It is a psychic shockwave, an act of supreme, cosmic intimidation. Then, a new phenomenon occurs. In the Oort cloud, the vast sphere of icy bodies at the far edge of the solar system, a star ignites. It is not a real star. It is too small, too sudden. It flares with an impossible brilliance for 10 seconds. A pinpoint of light brighter than the sun. And in those 10 seconds, an entire planet, a dwarf ice world designated Sedna, is vaporized. Not shattered, not blown apart, simply gone, erased from existence. The light fades. The psychic pressure recedes. The solar system is left in stunned silence. There is no message, no ultimatum, just a demonstration, a simple, elegant, and utterly terrifying display of power. The enemy has sent its second message. It was not delivered by a probe. It was delivered with the casual annihilation of a planet. The message is clear. This is what we can do from halfway across the galaxy. Imagine what we can do up close. The celebration over the keystone dies in an instant. It is replaced by a cold, feverish urgency. The voices of dissent fall silent. There are no more arguments for diplomacy. There are no more questions about provocation. The enemy has shown its hand. It is not just a predator. It is a god. A cruel and impossibly powerful one. And it has just noticed the ants on its cosmic patio are building something. The fortress is no longer a choice. It is the only hope. The race against time has just become a sprint. The casual destruction of Sedna changes everything. The project timeline is torn apart. What was once a 10-year plan is now a 3-year emergency. The new directive is simple. The fortress must be operational before the enemy fleet arrives. No one knows when that will be. The only certainty is that it will be too soon. The great push begins. The solar system becomes a frantic engine of construction. Safety protocols are relaxed. Work shifts are extended. The human cost begins to mount. Accidents in the orbital yards increase. Workers suffer from exhaustion, from the constant pressure. But they do not stop. They push through the pain and the fatigue. They are driven by the memory of that terrible light in the sky. You see the toll it takes on the faces of the crew, the haunted looks, the dark circles under their eyes. The gallows humor becomes darker. Sleep is a luxury we can trade for not being vaporized. One of your pilots tells you. He has been flying supply runs for 72 hours straight. You order him to his bunk. He goes. But you know he will be back at his post in 4 hours. The pace is relentless. The fortress grows visibly day by day. Entire sections of hull are attached in single shifts. The hum of construction is a constant presence in the lives of everyone in the system. It is the soundtrack of their desperation. The focus is on getting the core systems online. Power, shields, and the soliloquy cannon. Everything else is secondary. Living quarters are unfinished metal shells. Corridors are a maze of exposed wiring. It does not matter if it is pretty. It only matters if it works. To speed up the process, a daring plan is put into motion. The fortress's artificial star, the power core, will be ignited while construction is still underway. The risk is immense. A miscalculation could turn the entire fortress into a cloud of expanding plasma. The engineers protest. They say it is too soon, that they need more time for simulations. The council overrules them. There is no more time. You are on the fortress itself for the ignition sequence. You stand in the temporary command center. It is a cramped room deep within the station's superstructure. The walls are bare metal. Wires hang from the ceiling like vines. Alara is here. She has not left the fortress in over a year. She looks thin, worn, but her eyes burn with an unholy fire. The magnetic bottle is stable, she announces. Her voice is calm, but you can see a fine tremor in her hands. We are injecting the stellar plasma now. On the main screen, a graphic shows the core chamber. A small pellet of exotic matter is suspended in the center. It is the seed of their new sun. The countdown begins. 10, 9, 8. You feel the deck plating beneath your feet begin to vibrate. A low hum fills the air. It grows in intensity with each passing second. 7, 6, 5. The lights flicker. The hum becomes a deep, guttural roar. The entire fortress seems to groan around you. It is the sound of a sleeping giant being forced awake. 4, 3, 2. The roar is deafening now. It feels like the universe is tearing itself apart. You grip the console in front of you to stay steady. Alara's face is illuminated by the glow of the monitors. She's smiling, a terrifying, triumphant smile. 1. Ignition. For a single, heart-stopping moment, there is silence. The roar ceases. The vibration stops. The lights go out. You are plunged into absolute darkness and silence. A collective gasp fills the command center. Has it failed? Is this the end? Then, a new light appears. It does not come from the emergency lighting strips. It comes from the fortress itself. A soft, golden light that shines through the very walls. It fills the room with warmth. On the main screen, the core chamber is no longer dark. It is filled with a swirling, blazing ball of pure energy. A captive star. Your star. The lights flicker back on. The systems reboot. Power readings on every monitor jump into the green. The fortress is alive. A cheer erupts in the command center. It is a ragged, exhausted, but triumphant sound. You have done it. You have caged a sun in the heart of your bastion. Outside, the effect is even more dramatic. The dark, inert hull of the fortress begins to glow. Light shines from every seam, every unfinished panel. It awakens in the void, no longer a dead piece of metal. It is a new sun in the night sky, a beacon of defiance. For the people on Earth, it is a new star, a star of hope they can see with their own eyes. It hangs beside the moon, a testament to what they are fighting for. The ignition is a success. It cuts months off the remaining construction time. But it also acts as a flare, a giant, unmistakable signal to the watchers in the dark. You have just announced your presence, your power, in a way they cannot ignore. The great push has saved you precious time, but it has also started the final clock. You have shown your fire. Now you must wait for the response. The light of the newborn star shines on the fortress. Its systems hum with immense, barely contained energy. The great push has succeeded, but your victory is short-lived. The enemy answers, not with a demonstration this time, but with words. A message is beamed across the solar system. It is clean, precise, and universal. It translates itself into every human language simultaneously. It appears on every screen, is heard on every speaker. It is an ultimatum. The voice is calm. It is without emotion or inflection. It is the voice of something so ancient and powerful that humanity is beneath its contempt. You have created a light, the voice says. It is a trivial thing, a child's toy, but you have created it in our domain. The words are simple, but the implication is vast. They consider the entire galaxy their property. We have observed your species, the voice continues. You are quarrelsome. You are chaotic. You are a brief, feverish spark of biological noise. Your existence has been tolerated, as long as you remained confined to your cradle. But now you seek to build a wall in our garden. This cannot be. The message lays out the terms. They are not terms of negotiation. They are terms of surrender. Humanity is to dismantle the fortress. It is to destroy its spacefaring capability. It is to erase all knowledge of advanced star science. You are to return to a pre-industrial state. You are to confine yourselves to your planet. Forever. Do this, the voice commands, and you will be permitted to live out your natural lifespan. Your species will be allowed to fade into extinction quietly, as so many have before you. The alternative is also made clear. Resist, and we will come. We will unmake your world. We will scour your system of every trace of your existence. Your light will be extinguished. Your brief noise will be silenced. The choice is yours. You have one of your solar cycles to comply. 1 year. That is the deadline. 1 year to either surrender your future or face total annihilation. The message ends. The screens go blank. The solar system is left to process the stark choice it has been given. There are no more voices of dissent, no more calls for peace talks. The enemy's ultimatum has clarified everything. Their version of peace is a slow, managed death. A cage. The United Command Council meets for the last time. The debate is short. There is only one possible answer. To surrender is to die. To fight is to have a chance. The response sent back to the enemy is equally brief. It consists of a single image, a projection of the fortress, fully powered, its new star burning brightly. No words are necessary. The answer is defiance. The final year is a blur of activity. The fortress is completed. Not to the original grand design, not with the polished corridors and comfortable living quarters, but it is functional. The armor is in place. The shields are calibrated. The tens of thousands of defense cannons are loaded and ready. And deep in its core, the soliloquy cannon is primed. You are given command of the fortress. They call you the Warden. You take your place on the main command bridge. It is a vast, cavernous space located deep in the heart of the station. The main view screen is not a screen at all. It is a quantum entanglement viewer. It shows the space outside not as an image, but as a perfect, real-time reconstruction. There is no lag, no distortion. It is as if the void itself is in the room with you. Your crew is a mix of the best from every nation on Earth. Veterans of old conflicts, and young prodigies who know nothing but the threat that is coming. They are the million souls who will make their stand here. They are the keepers of the light. The final year passes in the blink of an eye. Every day is spent running drills, simulations, pushing the fortress's systems to their limits. On the final day, the day the ultimatum expires, a strange calm settles over the fortress. Every task has been completed. Every system is online. You walk the corridors. You see soldiers cleaning their rifles. You see engineers running final diagnostics. You see families in the designated safe zones, holding their children close. There is fear, but there is also a quiet resolve. You return to the bridge. The command crew is at their stations. They look to you. You give a simple nod. Bring all systems to full combat readiness, you say. Your voice is steady. Fortress is now online. A wave of energy thrums through the deck. The low hum of the station deepens into a resonant growl. The sound of immense power waking from its slumber. On the tactical display, green lights blink on across the entire fortress schematic. Shield systems report 100% power. Point defense cannons report ready. The main cannon reports its pre-charge sequence is complete. The fortress is no longer a construction project. It is a weapon, a shield, a promise. You look at the view screen, at the empty void. Let them come, you whisper. The wait is over. The war is about to begin. The silence of the void stretches for hours. The ultimatum deadline passes without event. A nervous energy fills the command bridge. Some of the younger crew members start to wonder if it was all a bluff. If the enemy was just testing their resolve. You know better. This is not a foe that bluffs. This is the calm before the storm. A storm of unimaginable fury. "Warden," your tactical officer says. Her voice is tight. "I'm detecting subspace distortions, high energy readings, many of them." She points to the main viewer. The empty blackness begins to ripple. It is as if the fabric of space itself is being torn open. For a moment, you see not stars, but a chaotic maelstrom of light and energy. Then, the first ship emerges. It is not like any ship you have ever imagined. It is a biological horror, a creature of chitin and darkness, fused with impossible technology. It is a deep, unrelenting black, a hole in the stars. It is vast, larger than any battleship humanity has ever built. But it is just the first. More rifts tear open. More ships pour through. They do not arrive in neat formations. They swarm. A chaotic, endless flood of them. There are hundreds, then thousands, then tens of thousands. They stretch from one edge of the quantum viewer to the other. A horizon of alien dread. The fleet has arrived. The scale of it is soul-crushing. All the war games, all the simulations, had predicted a large force. But not this. This is not an army. This is an extinction event given form. You hear a crew member gasp. You hear another start to pray quietly. You feel the cold hand of despair try to grip your own heart. For a moment, you understand what it must feel like to be an ant watching the boot descend. But then you look around the bridge. You see the faces of your crew. The initial shock is fading. It is being replaced by a hard, steely resolve. They are afraid. Of course they are. But they are not broken. They are the children of a species that clawed its way to dominance on a world full of predators. They are the heirs of a legacy of defiance. They will not surrender their home. A joke, brittle and sharp, cuts through the tension. Well, a pilot mutters over the comms, "At least we won't have to worry about scratching the paint." A few nervous laughs follow. The ice is broken. The fear is still there, but now it is fuel. "They're not moving to attack," Alara says from her engineering station. She has been analyzing their energy signatures. They're just watching us. Judging. It is a power play. They want you to see their numbers. They want you to despair. They want your will to break before the first shot is even fired. You step forward. Your voice rings out across the bridge. It is carried over the comms to every part of the fortress. "You all see what is before us," you say. You see the impossible odds. The enemy wants us to see this. They want us to feel hopelessness. They believe we are just another brief spark, ready to be extinguished. You pause. You let them feel the weight of the moment. "But we are not just any spark," you declare. "We are a bonfire. We are the children of Earth. And we have built our own star in the darkness. They have come to silence our noise. Let's show them what a symphony of defiance sounds like." You turn to your weapons officer, a man named Corin. He is young, but his eyes are old. "Corin," you say calmly, "target their lead vessel, the big one. Fire a warning shot." Corin looks at you. a flash of surprise in his eyes. A warning shot? Against that? He seems to question the order for a split second. Just a little one, you add with a thin smile. Let's not be rude. Corin understands. A slow grin spreads across his face. Aye, Warden. One polite hello coming right up. He fires a single lance from a secondary energy cannon. A thin beam of gold light streaks across the void. It is not a powerful shot. It is designed to splash harmlessly against the alien ship's shields. It is a gesture, a challenge. It is humanity's way of saying, we see your numbers, and we are not impressed. The beam hits the lead ship, and the war begins. The alien fleet does not react with a single shot. It reacts with a storm, a tidal wave of energy that erupts from every ship at once. Thousands of beams of crimson light converge on the fortress. They cross the void in an instant. The space between the fleet and the fortress becomes a crackling web of raw power. It is an attack of such overwhelming force, it should have vaporized you in a microsecond. Brace for impact, you roar. The crew grips their consoles. The entire fortress tenses for the blow. The wave of destruction washes over you. The main viewer whites out. The deck plates shudder violently. An immense, deafening roar fills the air. The sound of a god's fury being unleashed upon your shield. But the shield holds. On the tactical display, the green bubble representing your energy shield flares with brilliant intensity. It strains under the onslaught, but it does not break. The energy of 1,000 exploding suns is absorbed and dissipated by the fortress's man-made star. The hum of the core deepens to a primal scream as it works to counter the incoming energy. Shields at 90%, your tactical officer reports. Her voice a mix of disbelief and triumph. They're buckling, but they're holding. The first assault, a blow that should have been a killing stroke, has been weathered. The adamant shield, as the engineers had nicknamed it, has lived up to its name. The initial barrage lasts for 30 seconds. 30 seconds of unrelenting fury. Then it stops. The alien fleet seems to pause, as if in surprise. They have thrown their first and best punch, and you are still standing. A cheer erupts on the bridge, a raw, powerful sound of survival. Damage report, you command, your voice cutting through the celebration. The reports flood in. The outer armor layer is scorched and pitted. Minor systems have been knocked offline by the sheer energy surge. But the core structure is sound. The crew is shaken, but alive. The fortress has passed its first and most brutal test. They're reconfiguring, Ilara says, changing their energy frequencies. They're adapting. The next wave will be different. She is right. The enemy is not stupid. They will not make the same mistake twice. They are learning, analyzing your defenses, looking for a weakness. Then we won't give them the chance, you say. It's our turn to speak. You turn your gaze to the weapons console. Corin is already looking at you, his eyes wide with anticipation. He knows what comes next. The entire bridge crew knows. The fortress has more than just shields. It has a voice. Corin, you say, and your voice drops to a low, dangerous tone. The enemy has delivered their opening argument. It is time for our rebuttal. You point to the main viewer, where the alien fleet still swarms. Charge the main weapon. Charge the soliloquy cannon. Corin's grin is sharp enough to cut diamond. Aye, Warden, he says with relish, waking the beast. He flips a series of covers on his console. He enters the authorization codes. A deep, thrumming vibration begins to shake the fortress. It is a different kind of vibration than before. This is not the hum of defense. This is the growl of a predator. On the main schematic, You see power being shunted from all non-essential systems. The energy of your captive star is being funneled forward. It flows into the immense focusing array that makes up the entire northern pole of the fortress. The air on the bridge crackles with static electricity. The lights dim as the weapon draws more and more power. Core output is being diverted to the main cannon, Alara reports. The star is stable, but the strain is incredible. It's like trying to channel a river through a garden hose. A technician nearby jokes that it's the most expensive garden hose ever built. The humor is a welcome release valve for the mounting pressure. Outside, the fortress transforms. The northern pole begins to glow. At first, it is a soft white light. Then it intensifies, shifting to a brilliant blue. A corona of pure energy forms around the edges of the focusing array. The fortress is no longer just a bastion. It has become a gun aimed at the heart of the alien fleet. The enemy seems to sense the change. Their swarm-like formation begins to shift. A new wave of attacks begins, more focused this time. They are targeting the northern pole. They are trying to stop the cannon from firing. Beams of crimson energy hammer against the forward shields. Point defense cannons across the fortress's surface erupt in response. A beautiful, deadly fireworks display of tracers and explosions lights up the void. Cannon is at 70% charge. Corin calls out. His knuckles are white on the console. Forward shields are down to 60%. They're concentrating their fire. The fortress groans under the renewed assault. You can feel the impacts as hammer blows against the hull. Stay focused, you command. Your voice remains a calm anchor in the storm. Let them throw their tantrum. We only need one shot. The charge indicator climbs slowly. 80%. The glow from the northern pole is now so bright it eclipses the stars. 90%. The entire fortress is vibrating like a tuning fork. The sound on the bridge is a deafening roar, the sound of a star being weaponized. 95%. Corin yells over the noise. The firing chamber is overflowing with energy. The circuits can't hold this for long. It doesn't have to, you say quietly. You look at the lead alien vessel, the one that first emerged from the rift. The source of the swarm. It is the Queen Bee, the command ship. You will not waste this shot on a lesser target. You will cut the head from the snake. Target the command vessel, you order. On my mark. The targeting reticle on the main viewer locks onto the massive biological ship. It is so large, it feels less like a target and more like a continent. Charge at 100%, Corin screams. The cannon is ready, Warden. She's screaming to be let loose. You take a deep breath. This is the moment. The culmination of all the sacrifice, all the fear, all the unbreakable human will. This is the moment you answer the enemy's ultimatum. You answer their arrogance. You answer their pronouncement of your extinction. Fire, you say. Corin slams his hand down on the firing stud. For a fraction of a second, the entire fortress goes dark and silent. All power, all sound is consumed by the weapon. Then, the soliloquy cannon speaks. It is not a beam of light. It is a torrent, a river of pure, incandescent starfire that erupts from the northern pole. It is a solid object of impossible energy. It is as wide as a small moon. It moves with the speed of light, but it is so vast, you can see its progression across the void. The cannon fires for only 2 seconds, but in those 2 seconds, it pours the energy equivalent of 100 supernovas into a single, focused blast. The space in front of the fortress is bleached of all color. The torrent of energy is silent. It is so powerful it transcends sound. It is the wrath of a species that was told to go quietly into the night. A species that has decided to rage. The blast hits the alien command ship. There is no explosion. Explosions are for lesser energies. The massive bioship simply ceases to exist. One moment it is there, a mountain of dark chitin. The next, it is gone. Vaporized, unmade, every atom torn apart by the sheer force of the cannon's argument. But the beam does not stop. It continues on. It carves a perfect, empty corridor through the center of the alien fleet. Dozens, hundreds of the smaller ships that were behind the command vessel are also erased. They do not even have time to register their own destruction. They are simply scrubbed from the canvas of space. The beam continues for thousands of kilometers before it finally dissipates into the void. A stunned silence falls over the bridge. The fortress is quiet again. The roar of the cannon is gone. The vibration has ceased. Everyone stares at the main viewer, at the gaping hole in the enemy fleet. A perfect, circular wound in their formation. Where once there were thousands of ships, there is now only empty space. Then, the reaction begins. The alien fleet, which had been a coordinated swarm, breaks into chaos. Without their command vessel, they are rudderless. Some ships turn on each other in confusion. Others simply stop, drifting aimlessly. A significant portion of the fleet turns and flees, tearing open new rifts to escape the impossible weapon that has just been unleashed. A slow cheer begins on the bridge. It builds and builds until it is a deafening roar of victory. Your crew is screaming, laughing, crying. You have done the impossible. You have faced the abyss and made the abyss blink. You allow yourself a small, grim smile. The battle is not over. Not by a long shot. Thousands of enemy ships remain, but the tide has turned. The first dawn of a new era has broken. An era where humanity is not a victim. An era where humanity is a power to be reckoned with. The soliloquy cannon has spoken its first word, and the galaxy has been forced to listen. You look at the scattered, disorganized remnants of the enemy fleet. They are still a threat, a deadly one. The war is far from won. But something fundamental has shifted. The fear is gone. Replaced by a cold, hard determination, you have their attention now. You have shown them that your light will not be easily extinguished. Status report, you say? Your voice cutting through the lingering celebration. The crew snaps back to their stations. The discipline returns. Shields are regenerating. The cannon requires a full 12 hours to recharge. Multiple enemy vessels are in full retreat. The rest are hesitant. You look at the tactical display. The remaining alien ships are keeping their distance. They are like wolves circling a bonfire. They are afraid of the fire, afraid of what it might do next. You have bought yourself time. Precious time. Let's not waste it, you say. Target the largest remaining ship clusters. Let's use our conventional weapons. Let's remind them that the fortress has more than one tooth. The point defense cannons and energy lances come to life once more. The fortress begins to methodically pick apart the remaining, disorganized fleet. It is no longer a desperate defense. It is a hunt. This first victory sends a message back to Earth. A message of hope. They see the alien fleet in disarray. They see their fortress, their unyielding, standing strong. A wave of relief and pride washes over the home world. They have faced the monster at the door, and they have drawn first blood. But you know the truth. This was just the first wave. The enemy is vast, ancient. Their resources are likely limitless. They will be back. They will adapt. They will send a larger fleet, a more powerful one. This victory was not the end of the war. It was the end of the beginning. You have won a battle, but the long, arduous struggle for survival has just begun. You stand on the bridge of your fortress, your new sun at your back. You look out at the sea of stars. It is no longer a silent, empty place. It is a hunting ground. And you are no longer the prey. You have become a fellow predator. The first dawn is breaking over the solar system, a dawn forged in fire and defiance. And you, the warden of the adamant shield, are ready to face the long day ahead.